Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why 40-year-old Tom Brady's MVP season isn't exactly what it seems.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why all this talk about the Cavs struggling, nonsense. Speak for yourself starts now. Is it Thursday?
It is Thursday.
I wish those games were tomorrow morning.
You're still LeBron's biggest cheerleader. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by a couple of Super Bowl champs, Mark Schlereth and Seth Joyner. Let's start in New England, where the Patriots got a scare yesterday with Tom Brady injuring his hand during practice after a teammate accidentally ran into him. X-rays were negative, and Brady appears to be fine headed into the season. Some people thought at age 40 an injury would derail Brady, but the 40-year-old is the clear frontrunner for the MVP. He won an MVP today, not the main one, but won one. All right, something that would have been unimaginable in other eras. Cowherd, I'm someone that thinks I'm not as impressed with Brady playing at this level at 40 because I think the NFL rules have made it way too easy to play quarterback.
Well, you know what I think's happening, and it's an interesting thing. We went to the no huddle about 5-6 years ago, and coaches don't trust 24-year-old guys no huddle. Carson Wentz is an exception. He is a transcendent talent. But they trust Matt Stafford and Eli and Brady and Aaron and Ben because they've mastered the system. You can't throw anything at them. Secondly, is that you can't hit quarterbacks anymore. So all these Drew Brees, used to be you hit 34, your legs were sore, your hips were bad. Quarterbacks now are 39, and they're, I'm going to play for 4 more years. So I think it's become physically easier to play. I don't think there's any question that you can extend your career. You're not getting hit as much. It's a bubble screen league now. Ball's out of your hand. The second thing is coaches want to keep those veteran quarterbacks because with no huddles, they've picked up the complexities much easier than the young fillies that come in the league. So I think those two things are working. And to that, I would agree with you. For veteran guys, it's an easy game, man. They know the rules. You can't throw anything at Brady and Brees and Ben they haven't seen.
So, again, and I don't want to diminish the celebration of Tom Brady that's going to go on this postseason, and he's going to win more MVP awards than the one he won today. He'll win the AP MVP probably. I want to be careful because I don't want to take pot shots, but again, the league with the way you can't touch receivers, certainly the way you can't touch quarterbacks, the way they referee pass interference, I just think they've made it so easy for the experienced quarterback,
the veteran guy,
to play at a high level.
I agree with you.
That this MVP just doesn't do as much for me. And again, I know I was a guy that said Father Time was going to catch up with him, but I didn't know I wasn't thinking it all the way through that the NFL has played with the clock so much that, hell, he may be better at 50 than he is at 40.
And every one of these guys, let's face it, this is why I say the pure spread system, the guys that basically flag that ball out and they get on the edge, and that's unsustainable, right? The rules aren't bent towards protecting that guy. If you're a great athlete and you can run around and you're Cam Newton, you're going to take shots. And you're not protected outside the pocket, but inside that pocket where Brady operates, if you manipulate that pocket, you can slide around in there, you can deliver the ball from the pocket, you're going to be protected, then you're 100% right. Every rule is bent towards the offensive side of the ball. You guys on defense, we hate you guys. We're like, hey, forget you. We want to score points. We want to bend the rules this way. You can't chuck a receiver anymore. There used to be throws that were designated, like you had a single high safety, you don't throw a post. I mean, because he's going to get his head ripped off. Now you're saying, hey, man, just keep the post skinny, throw it in there. The guy can't hit you anymore, right? I mean, that's the way the rules go. I mean, that's just the way it is. It used to be only, hey, 2 high safeties is the only time we'll throw a post.
Andy Dalton throws for more yards than Joe Montana did. There you go.
Well, but, I mean, the game changed. There's 2 eras that you have to look at. You got to look at the late 80s, the early 90s, when defenses were dominant. And the NFL began to change rules because they were losing fans. It was such a defensive-dominated game that they had to implement something.
I disagree with they were losing fans. They were trying to get more fans.
Well, they were making it more. They were trying to make the game more enjoyable for the fan to watch. Let's face it, fans want to see scoring and lots of it. They don't want to see 15 to 13 games.
Fans want to see great competition.
Absolutely. Then you had the Peyton Manning era. Okay, that period of time where they couldn't beat the Patriots, and Peyton started crying. Oh, they're beating up my wide receivers. They're holding my wide receivers. And then they changed the rules from being able to jam the guy any way you wanted to jam him to you could only jam him once in a 5-yard area. Then defenses got real passive. You know, they stopped trying to inhibit, wide receivers. They got back off. And then the timing passing game came into the NFL where we're going to throw in windows. We're going to hurry up and get the ball out. See, I'm not impressed when quarterbacks today throw for 300 yards. I'm just not. What I'm impressed with is back in my day when Dan Marino and John Elway and those guys threw the ball 25 times and posted 300-yard games. If you're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game, you should throw for 300 yards, and that shouldn't be a big deal.
You know what's really interesting? That it used to be everybody, Namath, Aikman, Montana, Peyton early years, even the great quarterbacks, Bradshaw, Stabler, threw picks. Brady and Aaron Rodgers, you get all the yards, you get none of the interceptions. That never happened. All the great ones in my lifetime, Staubach, Favre, you had 38 touchdown passes, 24 picks. The game has become so easy, again, for the truly gifted. You get the 34 touchdowns, 4 picks. And now you don't get hit. This is why guys are fighting. I think 2 things are happening. Guys are fighting to play into their 40s because now they make $25 million, and the coaches are fighting to keep them because, God, these guys have mastered the pocket.
The other thing to me, though, and the NFL needs to take a look at this. They're so dependent on the quarterback position. And now we've gotten to this Final Four, and we're playing a lot of backup quarterbacks, and people are worried, oh, my God, if Brady doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, what do we got? And again, we used to have a league where you had a Roger Staubach, but you also had a Earl Campbell. You had a Walter Payton. You had other stars.
Why are they dependent on quarterbacks? The rules are bent that way. And then if you want to get a head coaching job in this league, what do you got to do? You got to be a vanity play caller. You got to develop a young quarterback. You got to show, look how good I am in the passing game, and because all of a sudden, because the rules are bent that way, we lessen the value of running the football and playing physical football. We lessen the value because it's not as sexy. And guys know, man, I'm not going to get hired. If I'm an offensive coordinator and I put up some numbers with a young quarterback, I get to be a head coach next. And so that's the way the whole league generally operates. Well, those are the guys that get the opportunities.
The thing is, too, these rules, they only apply to a handful of quarterbacks if you really stop and think about it. Guys like Brady, guys like Rodgers, guys like Breeze, they mastered the quarterback position. The quarterbacks that are behind them, those guys need a running game. That's why you have this resurgence in the running backs, a renaissance of running backs, if you will. Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley. You see these teams that have these running backs, Leonard Fournette. These guys make it easier for quarterbacks to be successful if they're not top-tier quarterbacks. The top-tier quarterbacks, they understand that guys aren't going to challenge at the line of scrimmage anymore. If they don't challenge at the line of scrimmage, then you know what? My rhythm timing, my rhythm passing game, and the fact that I want to get the ball out of my hand and I know where to go with the ball before I even snap the ball, that's to their advantage. When you look at Brady, he'll take 4, he'll take 3, he'll take 5. All he wants to do is move the chains down the field.
When I came in the league, you used to just, when you heard the 3-step drop, you'd be like, oh, thank the Lord. Because you didn't hear very many of them, right? You get all 5-step and all 7-step drops. Nobody runs a 7-step drop anymore. Ain't nobody runs a 7-step drop with a hitch. It's all 3 and 5 balls out of my hand in less than 2 seconds, or at about right at 2 seconds, and that's the way the league operates.
If you get a 7-step drop, it comes off a play-action pass,
right?
Where they're going to fake the run, and he's going to get deep. You look at Russell Wilson, because he had no running game. You see him setting up at 8-9 yards deep. Why? So that he can see the field. I mean, it's just the game has changed.
Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones are the 2 most impactful owners. They galvanize the other owners. 8-10 years ago, Kraft and Jerry went to the commissioner and said, our quarterback, Romo and Brady, are getting hurt. And it was very soon after that they create the Brady rule. What's happened? The quarterbacks are now protected. What's happened? There's virtually only one way to win. So what's happened by the way, it's all commerce. Because Jerry and Kraft said, I'm paying $20 million, my quarterback goes, we're not the same franchise. So those guys lobbied Goodell. Hey, protect our assets. By the way, this is happening in the NBA. What do owners want in the NBA? Points. Because points sells tickets and jerseys.
Everybody keeps saying that. I'm the guy that great competition sells.
No, but what everybody...
I'll go watch a 14-13 game.
That's you.
Other people will too. We think everybody's tuning in for the points, but I don't think the league.
A Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night game, if you got two teams that you think aren't going to score any points, nobody watches those games.
You got to get
nobody watches.
You got to get casual fans. Shania Twain, I bought her album. I don't buy country.
Did you love the 85 Bears? Did not everybody love that?
No, I didn't.
They had Jim McMahon.
As a defensive player,
I didn't like
as a
him.
defensive player, I love that.
No.
Walter Payton. You didn't love Walter Payton.
Who I loved?
That doesn't sell to most players.
Jimmy Johnson, Troy Aikman's Cowboys. I love USC.
That was Emmitt Smith.
Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin.
That was the offensive line.
That
was Emmitt Smith. No. To John Madden, the guy that was selling the hell out of this game and making people fall in love with the big guys up front and making everybody stars, that was John Madden. Again, we don't sell the game as well as we used to either. Yeah,
You like linemen. When I go to, I've never once been at a bar and a guy's like, you know who I want to talk about? The Purple People Eaters in Minnesota.
I don't know about you, but I was watching the Dallas Cowboys warm up in those days. And they had, I think, Harper and Irvin and Jay Novacek, and it was Mark Tuinei and Nate Newton and Mark Stepnowski. I think it was Gogs and Eric Williams and Emmitt Smith and Moose Johnson and Troy Aikman was there starting. I was watching them warm up. I was waiting. I was deep snapping. I was playing for the Redskins. And I thought, we don't have one guy on our offense that could start on that team. We're going to get our ass kicked, you know? And that's exactly what happened to us. But I like great competition. I love great.
But you guys are football players. My sister.
I think fans love great competition. Everybody said, oh, it's the points, it's the points. The game is so damn easy, and now you don't even know what a catch is, and every time they're throwing the pass interference.
Who's leading in all the jersey sales? Quarterbacks.
Because they built the league that way.
They built.
If they had to, Walter Payton used to sell a lot of jerseys. People love Walter Payton Man of the Year. It ain't the Bart Starr Man of the Year.
It's a quarterback-driven league, in my opinion, because they've got to justify paying these quarterbacks the type of money that they pay them. In my estimation, there's only 5 quarterbacks in this league that deserve to be making $20 million a year. The rest of them, 12, 15 max, okay? But they got to justify it. So they talk about it being a quarterback-driven league when there's only a handful of quarterbacks that really drives the league. The rest of these teams, the rest of these offensive teams, if they don't have a running game like you talk about, they are not going to be successful.
Hey guys, Jason McIntyre here. Before the show moves along, I wanted to tell you that support for the Speak for Yourself podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. They understand that home plays a big role in your life and family. That's why they created Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage gives you the confidence you need when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. It's simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Whether you're looking to buy your first home or your 10th, with Rocket Mortgage you get a transparent online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. It's convenient. Our trusted partners allow you to share your financial information with Rocket Mortgage at the touch of a button. And in addition to getting a real mortgage approval in minutes, you can even adjust the rate and length of your loan in real time to make sure you're getting the right solution for you. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply. Understand fully. Mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/speak. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Let's move to Philadelphia, where we'll see the quarterback matchup, Sunday's NFC Championship that we all predicted at the start of the year. Case Keenum against Nick Foles.
I did.
Pressure on these guys obviously immense. Not only are they career backups, but they both have the hopes of the tortured fan bases riding on their shoulders. Whitlock, who's under more pressure? Case Keenum in the purple, Foles in the green.
Case Keenum has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL,
boy.
and that he's the quarterback that Minnesota should commit to. So I think all the pressure's on Nick Foles. Of all the quarterbacks, Blake Bortles has a brighter future to me than Nick Foles. And so I think all the pressure's on Nick Foles. He is yet to, and I'm not bashing him, but he just hasn't proven yet that he's a starter in this league.
That's because he's not. He's a backup. There's no pressure on him. There's not a GM in this league that's like, if Foles is good, I'm giving him franchise money. Foles is a backup. It has been established. Rush Limbaugh's conservative. Rachel Maddow's liberal. It's been established. Okay, Nick Foles is a backup. Keenum's playing for $85 million this weekend and Super Bowl weekend. Because there are GMs in this league, and it may not be many. Arizona's out there. Jacksonville's out there. And they're like, 18 million. He beat New Orleans. That final play. He beats Philadelphia on the road. Keenum's got 85 million in the next 2 games. Not a GM thinks Foles is a...
It's already been decided. Case Keenum's going to get that money.
I agree. Case Keenum's going to make. Hey, listen, if Glennon gets $18 million a year to go to Chicago and get benched, if he's making if Brock Osweiler's getting $18 million a year to go to Houston, Case Keenum's already going to make $20 million a year. I think the pressure is on Foles. I mean, it's Carson Wentz that got you here. You look at the situation for Case Keenum. I mean, Sam Bradford, like, come on, Sam Bradford, really? Is it Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, you're in this situation where you've already exceeded all expectations. You're going to get paid. This offseason is your season. I think Nick Foles, like, hey, Carson Wentz, we were Super Bowl favorites. He was an MVP candidate. You got to come in here, and we've got a really solid team where we can run the ball. We got a big offensive line. We got a great defense. Hey, try not to screw it up. We're all counting on you. Good luck.
Nick
you know,
Foles knows that he's living on borrowed time. He understands
You
that
think
this
he
football.
really knows
yeah,
that?
he said it. He's come out and said it. This is Carson's team. He understands that he knows that. Listen, this guy's got a second lease on football life. He was contemplating 2 years ago retiring from the game.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on him. You know what we're going to do? They're going to come out, they're going to run the ball. Okay, he has the benefit of the RPO, so he's not going to have to read the whole field. He's going to have either give it, keep it, or throw it out to that wide receiver. Okay, and we're going to play good defense and good special teams behind it. Case Keenum, on the other hand, has the pressure. The Minnesota Vikings run the ball more than anybody else in the league, and they're one of the worst per carry running teams in the league. They run it to keep it balanced for Case. But if you watched in the second half, they got away from the run, and he looked horrible in the second half. I don't care what you say. He looked horrible in the second half of that Saints game. That one last throw that he made saved the day for him and gave him new life.
Need more than that?
It is.
He needed more than he needed.
No, he doesn't need any
did
more
what
than
was
that.
necessary.
But my point is, at some point in time, the Minnesota Vikings Sunday night are going to find themselves in the same situation against the Philadelphia Eagles that they were last week, okay? And in case the offense is going to be on Case's shoulder. Listen, this team has not given him a vote of confidence as well as he played all year long.
That's right.
Mike Zimmer is all he's talked
Yeah,
about.
4
Well, you know, he's
quarterbacks.
playing okay. But yeah, well, we're going to activate this guy. We're going to activate that guy. They haven't given this guy the thumbs up that you're our guy. Of course he's under pressure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this league even considers Nick Foles more than I think some teams would have him as a third.
What Nick Foles thinks of himself is most important. All right, welcome back. We're joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Charlotte, where the Hornets, Michael Carter-Williams, and the Wizards, Tim Frazier, were both ejected for fighting last night, bringing the tally of NBA ejections this week to 9. 9 in 3 days. The rash of players getting thrown out comes just a few days after Draymond Green said the things between refs and players had become toxic, saying, quote, "It's bad, it's horrible, it's really bad. I don't know why it is, but I think it's ridiculous. It's ruining the game. Too many personal things going on. Too much me against you. It just don't work that way." Cowherd, should the NBA panic over tension between players and refs?
No, it's really predictable. The NBA, there is no middle class. Everybody's a millionaire. Yeah. And so what does money do to people? It makes them think they're invincible, and it gives them ego. And average players now think they're stars. Stars think they're the royal family, and they don't want to listen to increasingly younger refs because the veterans have retired. So you get these young refs. Everybody in this league's making a fortune, and there's a lack of respect. I mean, it's amazing. I watched Westbrook last night. I mean, he is eye-rolling every call.
Yeah.
I mean, you think Magic used to be the all-time complainer. Westbrook thinks any shot I miss, it is a yap, eye roll, point to the ref. This is what happens when you make everybody in a league super rich.
I think you've made an excellent point. I think you've made the point, though, that there should be some panic. Because how do you fix that problem? And because it is a problem. There is a lack of respect between the players and the refs. It's bubbling up. That's why I think we're seeing more fights between the players because they're just frustrated. And I think you've just made an excellent point in terms of these guys see themselves as business owners and moguls outside of, and they're used to being catered to and everyone kissing their rear.
And the only one that doesn't is the ref.
Yes. And so, look, Mark Denisick, a spokesman for the NBA Referees Association, I think the referees expect a certain amount of it, but I think there's just been a decline in civility, a decline in respect, and an increase in aggression.
Hear, hear.
That, to me, is something they should panic over because I don't know what the easy solution is.
I agree with you guys, although I don't think the time is to panic. But you mentioned Westbrook. It's not just Westbrook.
Yeah.
Every player in the league pretty much complains about every call or non-call. It is ridiculous. And some of it is the way the players talk to the refs, too. They're talking to them in disrespectful ways. I'm not saying the refs aren't to blame. Yeah. The refs then, think, if you're doing your job and somebody is constantly complaining every other minute, then you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get tired of it. You're not going to want to hear it. So I actually think what they're doing over the All-Star break, I know it's only 3 players and 3 referees, but I think that is a good move. I'd like them to have more players and more refs in there, but they need to get to know each other. Dick Bavetta, who one of the most famous refs, he used to kind of kill the tension with players with humor. You know, he told me sometime in the jokes he would use with players, if they complained about a call, he'd use a joke. They start laughing and it's all good. So these guys have to get to know each other to some degree, and the players have to chill out a little bit, and then the referees have to loosen the reins too.
Here's why I'm in the panic mode over what's going on. College football just ended, guys. Okay, the NFL's down to 4 teams left. All the casual sports fans are drifting to the NBA. And what do you see? You see Aaron Aflalo throwing a punch. You see Michael Carter-Williams like grabbing his fist. He's ready to go. I think this is a terrible look for the league. Remember the Malice at the Palace 13 years ago. That was awful.
But none of these have
we
been
haven't
like that
escalated
or
there
even
yet,
close.
but Chris, you don't want it to get near that. And think about this. Christmas Day, the NBA owns it, right? What was the big story out of Christmas Day? The referees. They missed a call on LeBron and Kevin Durant at the end, and LeBron ranted over, and fights, and LeBron ranted over it for days. Okay, they got about 35 games to clean this up before the playoffs. Because every night the playoffs happen, you don't want these referees being your story.
What was the story on MLK Day?
Yeah, the fights. That's I got confused.
Yeah. No, but to his point, the Christmas Day, the MLK, these are big days.
And the
the
referees-
NBA and holidays have big viewership.
Well, to that point, like, I think 2 things. One, technology. Because now we all see the calls that the refs blow. They used to blow calls back in the day, too, but we didn't see them like we do now. Players see it, too. That takes away some of the respect you have for these guys.
Think about this, Chris. What is the one sport in America where I, as a coach, can almost debase you? And football. Why? Contracts aren't guaranteed. When players know they have more money than the coach, sometimes than minority owners, then I push back. Football players veterans will have coaches humiliate them in front of teammates. Why? I can cut you. These NBA players, man, there's no middle class anymore.
Frankenstein, and eventually, Chris, this is where I think McIntyre's going. It may not be the Malice at the Palace, but you can't tell me you're not sitting here worried that at some point a player's going to take a swing at a ref. That's going to be incredibly ugly. Listen, I think they need a hard and fast rule to sound too extreme, but the players just need to cut it out and quit talking to the ref, leave that to the coach.
To Cleveland, where the Cavs have been struggling of late, losing, what, 4 in a row? 8 of their last, 10? Who's counting? The losing streak has led some anonymous griping in the press, fake news, players expressing concern about the direction of the team, while LeBron has been trying to put a happy face on things. Even he had to admit, this season's been a little tough.
Very challenging, just from the simple fact of how many guys has been in and out. This is a difficult, year for our team. It seems like I say that every year, but this one has been even more challenging. With everybody that's been out and coming back in and the rotations and things of that nature has been very challenging on our team. But we have to figure it out.
All right, Whitlock, the Cavs' struggles overblown.
Not at all. And because we've seen how things can go when LeBron struggles. We saw what happened at the end of his first stint in Cleveland. Things got ugly, and, LeBron took his ball and went home and went to South Beach. And, no, I don't think it's overblown. We saw what happened at the end of Miami, and, again, they ended up winning 54 games, not winning the title. I don't think it's overblown. LeBron James is concerned. You should be concerned as well.
I'm not concerned at all. You know what Phil Mickelson's problem was? His only problem was Tiger Woods. Mike Tomlin's won 64% of his games. You know what his problem is? Bill Belichick. LeBron's problem is the Warriors. If they didn't exist, we'd be like, dude's got 5 titles, headed for a 6th. The problem is when you're facing an all-time great, Belichick, Saban, Tiger, Golden
He's
State.
an all-time great.
Well, but by the way, Manning's not clutch. Actually, he was on league average. Brady made him look like he had major problems.
Manning wasn't clutch.
My point is, LeBron's big issue is the best team that's ever played basketball in their prime is playing, and he doesn't have an answer for it. Is that a problem, or is that just reality?
To your point, when LeBron leaves, it is ugly. It's always an ugly ending. And I think there's a good chance he leaves. I said that on your show today. To your point, there is no other player in the league who it is title or bust. Yeah, we tease Westbrook, or you guys tease Westbrook. He's got to win, he won't win. But really, he's not going to be judged by his title.
We celebrated his season.
Yeah, we celebrate his triple-double. LeBron James can be MVP. He can lead the league in scoring, rebounding, and assist. And if he doesn't win the championship, it's a horrible season. And so now he knows for the first time, I think, since he began really getting close to winning championships, he really probably feels like we can't beat that team. And so that's why this is so tough and hard on him.
Yeah, overblown is a great word for this. And I know you guys want to defend the Cavs. And, hey, 28th in defensive efficiency, no big deal. They were bad last year, as you said on your show. And they've got the oldest roster in the league. You need to go to the bench. Dwayne Wade's 36. Kyle Korver's, I believe, 36 as well. But there are 2 things that keep jumping out as to why you should be worried, Colin. Number 1, Isaiah Thomas. He wants to practice. What's LeBron's reaction? Dude, I've been in the league 15 years. I've never been hurt. 7 straight finals. I'm not practicing. That's a problem. Isaiah Thomas needs the practice. And the second one, Whitlock. He's a free agent. 6 months. The countdown is on. These are 2 problems that they didn't have last year or the year before. And they are going to swirl and fester in that locker room. Broussard, the fact that you've come around to this side speaks volumes to me.
I will say this, though. LeBron complains a lot. January's their crisis month. Why? Because the trading deadline's February 8th. So they know if they can generate something. I do think this is interesting. You have 3 weeks to the trading deadline. They ain't winning with this team. To your point, 12 years, LeBron's never felt like I can't win until this year. If they don't make a move and Dan Gilbert says, I'm not giving up that pick because I don't know about LeBron, then I think you're like, oh, this is going to be LeBron's gone after the All-Star break.
You don't think that's the most likely scenario?
No.
What you just said?
No. I think LeBron's sitting there thinking for the next 3 weeks. By the way, suddenly all these stories are leaking. Suddenly, chatty LeBron story. LeBron's saying, Dan, 3 weeks. I'm giving you 3 weeks. Make a move. If Gilbert doesn't, fear LeBron leaves, then I think you're going to see a really ugly LeBron's emotionally done for the year. That could happen.
Yeah, that's where we're headed, without question, in my opinion. And I don't know if LeBron has the winning argument. Go out and trade that asset although I'm not going to commit.
Exactly.
That's
I agree with
crazy.
you. Yeah.
Go out and rent Paul George, and me and Paul George all get up out of here. That's crazy. So Dan Gilbert actually has the winning argument. It's going to be a bad look for LeBron. They can keep tanking it all they want, but if I'm Dan Gilbert, I don't fold.
Oh, really? So LeBron can get another rich guy. Can Gilbert get another LeBron? LeBron's got all the leverage.
So you think they're going to trade that Brooklyn
If
pick?
I
You
own
think Gilbert will crumble?
If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm never going to have a player like LeBron.
What?
I would trade that pick tomorrow.
Here's the thing about LeBron's 34, right?
Yeah.
33.
33.
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley's 20 or 19.
And Marvin Bagley, like Anthony Davis, will come in this league and be nothing for 5 years.
Again, I'd rather have a 24-year-old Marvin Bagley than 39-year-old LeBron.
Well, here's the question, too, though. What will you get for that Brooklyn pick? Maybe you'll get Paul George, maybe. Or maybe Oklahoma City's going to stick to their guns and
And then
try
what
to
do you
make
get?
a deep playoff
DeMarcus
run.
Cousins, a guy who doesn't play any defense
that-
at all?
That's not the move you want. I don't even know if New Orleans would give up Cousins or Davis for the number for Brooklyn's pick.
Dan Gilbert is going to hold on to that pick. There is no guarantee LeBron's staying. And why would I give up my
Well, if
only
that-
ace in the
If
hole?
that's true, if what your guy, do you believe they'll give the pick up?
No.
Oh, and you don't?
No way.
And you don't?
right.
All right, LeBron's in trouble. Welcome back, Chris Broussard, J-Mac here. Let's move to Oklahoma City. I watched this game. Laker woes continued last night, blown out by the Thunder. Close for a while. Lonzo Ball, what do you know? Sat out, second straight game with a sore knee. LA's now 0-8 in the games he's missed this year. And while the team isn't drastically different on offense without their point guard, they're actually giving up 15 more points per game with Lonzo on the bench. Whitlock, the Lakers' struggles without Lonzo. Does it prove he's underrated?
No, it proves that they don't have a backup point guard on their team. And so when Lonzo goes out, they don't have a point guard. And no, I don't think it proves he's underrated. I think it proves he has more value than perhaps I give him credit for. But I don't see Lonzo as remotely underrated. Everybody capes up for, he's having 10 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 32% last week. That's up from 31%. I mean, I don't think he's underrated.
Listen, to your point, Tyler Ennis is not an NBA transformative point guard.
Yeah.
So they don't have a backup. That is absolutely true. There's a huge drop-off. But the one thing that's really interesting to me is Ben Simmons is called a rookie. Okay, he's not a rookie. He had a redshirt year.
He didn't play.
But he had a redshirt year. Take Lonzo's first 25 games out.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Last 13. Isn't it? Listen.
That's 13
You know
games
what, Kyle?
out of 82. You
staggering.
play 82.
Let's
That's
take
a
the
small
2,000
sample.
calories I ate this morning out.
Exactly.
And you know, I've had a great day. I've only eaten 150
That is a
calories.
great comparison.
Ben
You got
Simmons.
to give the research.
Ben Simmons is averaging 18 points,
Yes.
5 assists
Yeah.
on 56% shooting in January. He's still playing better than Lonzo Ball.
Well, he's older. He had a year to redshirt.
And he's better.
Right now, he's better. My point being, we all know he's better, and we've all called him a star. Lonzo is a bust in half the world's eyes.
No,
he and
my
Simmons are
eyes,
close.
Not half. My
A
eyes,
lot
not
of
half.
people think he's a bust. Simmons is called a star. He's better than Lonzo. Lonzo's called by a lot of you veteran reporters a bust. I'm not saying Lonzo's better. I'm saying as far as rated, he's now become an underrated asset.
Well, to the people that think he's a bust, yes, he's definitely underrated because he's not a bust. I think he actually is going to be a very good point guard.
Role player.
And he's showing that. But to say he's underrated, he is, I can name 5 rookies off the top of my head who are playing better than him.
Give me him.
Markkanen in Chicago.
He's a better shooter.
But he's averaging
League that
15.7 rebounds.
baskets.
You know, Donovan Mitchell, there's no debate there. 19 points a game. His teammate, Kyle Kuzma, 16.5 points a game. Jason Tatum,
yes.
46% from 3, 50% overall on the second best team in the league record-wise.
You're not mentioning,
and then Simmons.
how about Josh Jackson? No. De'Aaron
No,
Fox?
I
No.
agree.
Markelle Fultz?
And they're
No.
my point is just that if you're the number
Dennis Smith
2
Jr.
pick, you're the number 2 pick, and you're at best the 6th best rookie of the year,
that is
then there's no way
negotiable.
you're underrated.
I don't think he's arguing rookie of the year, Chris. He's saying he's underrated, and that's a fact. 100%
How are you
fact.
underrated when you were
First of all,
drafted second and 5 guys
so
behind you are having better
These
seasons?
guys like Whitlock are calling him a bust.
Yeah, it's not just
I
0
agree
and 8.
with that point.
Chris, it's 0 and 8 by an average of 17 points a
getting
game. They're getting blown off.
Are they,
everywhere.
are
They're
they
getting
world
destroyed.
beaters with him?
No, I mean, they're not
viable.
world beaters, but they're
Sounds like,
competitive.
you know what this sounds like to me? He's ducking the good competition. Comes up with these.
6, 8 of those 8 losses, 6
about
of them have been
How about
against
this?
playoff teams.
Lonzo's a point guard, a 20-year-old rookie. Who leads the Lakers in defensive rebounds? Lonzo Ball, 5.8 rebounds a game. When he's off the court, they miss the assists.
So
the
now
steals,
we're measuring the
blocking
difference
shots.
in a loss?
No, I'm saying he's underrated. You can agree with this.
No, I
my
like
goodness.
Lonzo. I'm a Lonzo defender. And to that, I don't know if it's a minority or what, that group that thinks he's a bust,
We're sitting
yes,
next to
they're
Lonzo.
way out of line.
No, let me tell you
He's
why Chris
underrated
is
by
right.
them.
Let me tell you why Chris. Magic Johnson pointed to the rafters and set the bar so high.
He did.
LeVar set the ball so high. Colin Cowherd had a LeBronzo meter. Lonzo's going to be the reason LeBron's coming to L.A.
People like that.
Hey, by the way, how many other NBA rookies did LeBron wish happy birthday to
No,
on social media?
exactly.
Hey, come on, it's happening.
He knows
Lonzo
all
and
these
LeBron,
guys.
it's
That settles
happening.
it. That's it. Look, he's not underrated. When you started out rating him too high, that's why y'all set the bar, and he hasn't met it.
That's why, because I was the balance. It's like Rush Limbaugh said, everybody's a liberal. I'm just going to balance it out. And all these haters, I'm like, I'm going to go a little over the top to bring the rest of the zanies up to the real level.
I'm with you
Magic
on
among
everything
them.
but saying he's underrated.